Okay, so I had neglected to mention at the end of the previous episode that before assembly I needed to put a sealing coat on everything. So as you can see here, this is me applying a non-glossy sealing coat to both the can and the topper. Not making a big deal out of it, just letting you know that I did do it. This is my proof. And I forgot to mention that that was the next step. So it has been sealed. Now we move on to assembly.
And finally, at long last, I am going to put it all together and see what it looks like. Yeah, no, I'm not going to mince words. Here we go. So I just got some rocks to add to weight. I thought I was going to do something a little more complicated, but then I figured out it was needlessly complicated. So I just went to the dollar store and got Bag o' Stone. It will sit comfortably in the bottom. It will give good overall weight to it. It will make it bottom heavy, so it is less likely to tip over. Everything I need it to do. So there's the rocks. Then... okay. It's a pretty convincing warp pipe to me. I think it looks really good. But let's add the last bit. So obviously it's been sitting a specific way for a long time, so the leaves are not going to cooperate. And I know I had mentioned weeks, episodes ago, that the idea was going to be that I would glue that in, but then I like the idea, you know, because like if it ever needs to go anywhere, being able to take the flowers out so that they don't get, you know, crazy damaged or anything, trying to transport this as one piece, just wasn't worth it. So, and they sit in there so nicely. I mean, it's exactly where it needs to be. You know, if I was sending it up to the space station or something, I might glue everything together, but it's not. So, I think it will do just fine, just like it is. And, you know, so like I said, I mean, the leaves need to come down. I think, you know, that might have to be trained down, but I think overall, it just looks really good. I am so pleased with how it turned out. And of course, it's not perfect. This was my first one, so yeah, it's not gonna be perfect. But what's wrong with it is not obvious. I mean, you have to be looking really, really close to see the little imperfections, most of which I pointed out to you. I mean, it's all pretty much the same stuff. It's just now green instead of gray. And I mean, the final picture just looks fantastic. I mean, this turned out so good. I am so happy with it. So, yeah, I mean, this is it. It took a long time to get here, but here it is, and I'm really happy with it. So, yeah. Anyway, as I usually do, I mention what I learned while making this project. And I did learn some stuff, but some stuff were just lessons that, you know, you can't be reminded about too many times. I wrote them down, so I'm going to be looking off camera so I do them and not forget any of them. So bear with me here. But the first one is be willing to accept that things might not work out the first time, which it's the cornerstone of being creative. You know, you're either making something that's never been before, or remaking something in a new way, or using a new type of material, or whatever. So either way, you know, to the world, or at least to you, there's lots of first times. So don't expect success the first time, because it's nice when you get it, but don't expect it to be that way every time. Like way back at the beginning of this project when I did the test ring to make sure that this was going to sit on the coffee can correctly, it worked first time, and I was pretty stoked about that. But then when I went to doing the little cylinder piece that the flowers would fit in so that it would sit like this, I didn't get that right the first time. And every time I had to fix it, it was a redesign, and then I had to wait for it to print out just to test it and find out that it was still not right. So, but did I give up? No, of course not. I just kept making them until I got the one that needed to do, or that did do what I needed it to do. So yeah, I mean, it's, iterative design. I mean, the iteration part of iterative design is just that. You make a thing, and then when it doesn't work, you find out where it works, or where it works and where it doesn't work. Keep the things that do work, change the things that don't work, make a new iteration, and try it. And you just rinse and repeat until you've got what you want, or close enough. Which actually leads into the second thing, the second lesson. Focus on one element of your creation at a time. If you're always looking at this and not breaking it down into its constituent parts to get here, you're going to get frustrated. And instead of doing that, you do something along the lines that works for you, that like I did at the beginning of this project. I knew that what I needed had to fit on here, so I made my test ring to make sure that I did a size that was right and with a design that was right for it to sit on here. Then I knew that it also needed to hold the bouquet correctly. So I did that part. And then literally the rest of it was make it look like the topper for a wart pipe, incorporate the test ring and the holder for the bouquet. And that's pretty much all there was to it. After that, it was all the technical stuff, repairing and bondoing, and the painting and the finishing and the ta-da! So yeah, one thing at a time. All complicated things are just a bunch of simpler things all masked together. So if you take those apart and work on one of the simpler things at a time, eventually you'll get the complicated device that you're going for. Anyway, now let me talk about Bondo. Bondo is absolutely incredible. This was my first time actually working with it. I've played with it a little bit before, but never had any task in mind with it. So this is my first time that I was actually I had a task in mind and actually needed it to be a certain way and things like that. And so I cannot speak highly enough about Bondo and Bondo type materials in terms of how well they work for doing things like this. However, it smells really, really, really bad. I may have mentioned the fact that it reminded me of burning tires, and if I didn't, I'm saying it now. Bondo smells like burning tires, and it is a very pervasive fume. So if you're going to work with Bondo, which, depending on the application, by all means, I fully recommend. This stuff is awesome. But make sure you do it in a ventilated place, because good lordy. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the stuff is great. Be generous in its application and be rigorous in its sanding, and you should probably be all right with your use of Bondo. And I learned all of that because, like I said, this was my first time actually using it. And so I guess I'm going to wrap up with the last thing being, as a creator, my personal recommendation is to focus on function before fashion. So, I made this thing, and I've talked the entire time about A, the fact that I'm so happy about it, and B, that it is not perfect, and it's not. I mean, if you look at it really close, you can still see, like right in here, some of the rings from the can are still poking out, regardless of the fact that I applied Bondo to it 2 times, and an endless stream of coats of paint, and things like that. But it does exactly what I want it to do. It holds the flower. It looks like a wort pipe. It's awesome. So, so next time, because now I've got the function of it down, I know it's going to do what it's supposed to do. But next time, I know how to do those things, and I will be able to do them even better. So, when I do this one will look a lot better even than this one, because I understand the function and it will do its function, and I see where I went wrong with its appearance and can make sure to not duplicate that on this one. So when I do a build, I like to build 2 and give 1 away, but I only had 1 bouquet, so I altered the file for the topper a little bit and just turned it into an open can and resized it for cocoa cans. So now the wort pipe can be just an anything. You can put pins or change or whatever you want in, and it just fits on a cocoa can. So you don't, there are some ridges that you'll have to worry about, but they're not nearly as bad as dealing with the ones on the metal coffee can, which is probably a good thing anyway, considering that metal coffee cans aren't exactly easy to get a hold of anymore. So, so I'm going to paint this one up, and I mean, of course, do basically all of the same stuff that I did with this one, and this one should look amazing when it's done. And then this one will go to some lucky patron. In fact, I'll just make it easy. The first patron to leave a comment below in the Patreon page listing for this video, who says that they want it, will get it. Of course, it'll take me a little bit of time because I have to actually do the work and make it look like a wort pipe, but that's all it takes. Be the first one of my patrons to say you want it, and it is yours. So, yeah, I mean, I think I've covered all of the bases. I've got my 1.5. I've got a fantastic looking wort pipe with some amazing Piranha Plant bouquet that a patron actually made, like I'd said many moons ago. And so I am happy to say, Mariah, look at what I did. And yeah, I think we'll bring this project to a close. Until next time.